Hey, what's good, fam? It's Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com. Today, we're talking about the Alabama linebackers, outside linebackers, as well as inside linebackers going into the springtime. This is a continuation of our storyline series. Be sure to hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. More coverage coming your way right here on BamaInsider.com. Thank you very much for being a part of that 50,000 club right here on BamaInsider.com. As we've done with our latest videos, we're going to break this down into a couple different parts. We're going to talk about some major storylines as well as other items that we are tracking at the linebacker position going into the 2021 spring season. And as you know, Alabama has to replace Dylan Moses, who leaves for the NFL. You have Joshua McMillan, who's also left the program. And then you have transfers like Ben Davis, Kevin Harris, and Ali Cajo. So the Alabama linebacker room has some good experience returning. And actually, the major storyline going into the spring and probably into the summertime probably focuses on a player that's not even on the roster or even a part of Alabama yet, and that's Henry To'oTo'o. So we lead off kind of trying to figure out if Henry To'oTo'o is going to join the Alabama Crimson Tide for the 2021 season. Now, a little backstory on Henry To'oTo'o, as you know, came down to Alabama and Tennessee, and in the end, Henry To'oTo'o picked Tennessee over Alabama. However, after his 2020 season, he entered the NCAA transfer portal, and all signs kind of point to the fact that Henry To'oTo'o wants to be a part of the Alabama Crimson Tide. So what's exactly the holdup? Well, if To'oTo'o wanted to transfer right now, the SEC has a rule in place that would force To'oTo'o to sit out the 2021 season. Good long-term if Alabama wanted to hang on to To'oTo'o, but not good for this coming season. The good news is the ACC just eliminated their interconference transfer rule, being that if players wanted to transfer from one ACC program to another, they could do that and play immediately. Maybe that news will force the SEC to rethink their decision and possibly allow SEC transfers to transfer within conference and be eligible immediately. That would be great for Henry To'oTo'o if he was to link up with Alabama. At 6'2", 225 pounds out of Sacramento, California, To'oTo'o finished with 76 tackles and played in 699 snaps for Tennessee last season as a true freshman. So long story short, it would be great if Henry To'oTo'o transfers to Alabama, but if he doesn't, Alabama has some major firepower at that linebacker position. So let's talk about two of the top linebackers returning for Alabama. Really, in the SEC, you could even say in the nation with William Anderson and Christian Harris. As I talked about, we're going to kind of blend the inside and outside linebackers, and this should be quite the tandem coming back for 2021. Christian Harris, at 6'2", 232 pounds, is a junior right now. He has a career 142 tackles. He's played in 26 games at Alabama, a lot of playing time because he came in here, started as a freshman, and then started as a sophomore. He's been fantastic, tons of athleticism. Remember, he played corner and wide receiver in high school, and now he's at the inside linebacker position. Had his first interception in the national championship game against Ohio State. In 2020, he had 79 tackles and 4.5 sacks. You also have William Anderson at the outside edge position, 6'4", 235 pounds. He was an absolute monster in 2020 as a true freshman, finishing with 52 tackles and 10.5 tackles for a loss with 7 sacks. You can read our player spotlight from Trey Yanity that was recently uploaded right here to our YouTube channel. So your inside linebacker, the anchor is Christian Harris. On the outside, you have a sophomore by the name of William Anderson that everybody already knows about. And we can't forget about Chris Allen. Remember, he returns for his redshirt senior season at the outside linebacker position. He had 13 tackles for a loss last year, 6 sacks, and really played a pivotal role on the defense during Alabama's title run. So you have a good nucleus right there. I think we're all trying to figure out going into the springtime who's going to be that additional linebacker that steps up right next to Christian Harris. And that's kind of other storylines that we are tracking. Is that going to be one of these other vets, maybe a Jalen Moody or a Shane Lee? I think it's interesting when you look at Alabama's inside linebackers. I mean, Jalen Moody is a guy who has definitely seen a lot of playing time. He's seen playing time on special teams. He's seen playing time within the twos. But, you know, Shane Lee is another interesting player because, remember, when he first got here at Alabama, he played in every single game. He had the most snaps played out of every single freshman. And then last season, didn't see the field really at all. So Shane Lee is a guy who has experience. But, you know, does he have the athleticism that Alabama wants at an inside linebacker position? I think we've talked about him before, being that, you know, he's a thumper. He can find the football. He has a great nose for the ball. It's just the fact that he might not have that athleticism that Alabama was looking for. That's why I didn't play during the 2020 season. At the outside linebacker position, you also have some other vets that I'm curious to see are going to make waves this year later on in their career. You got King Makuta, dealt with some injuries last year, but a lot of athleticism from him. I think at the outside linebacker position, he provides a lot of depth. And then you'll have Jerez Parks. Hasn't seen a lot of playing time during his career at Alabama, but he's certainly one of the vets of this defense. We're also watching the progression of second-year players at the linebacker position for Alabama. You have Chris Broswell, Quindarius Robinson, Demoy Kennedy, Jackson Bratton, and Drew Sanders. I think clearly everyone wants to see Drew Sanders get onto the field as much as possible this coming season. At 6'5", 230 pounds, he played the most out of any of these other linebackers that I just mentioned. He played in 12 games, and he had most of his time was seen on special teams. He finished out the season with 9 tackles. At 6'5", 230 pounds, he has the athleticism to get on the field. I just think that William Anderson having the great season that he had, and then Chris Allen playing at a very high level, didn't create a lot of opportunities for Drew Sanders to get onto the field. But I think when you look at quality depth, Drew Sanders is going to be a guy that does get opportunities, many more opportunities during the 2021 season. So let's continue to keep track of the progress of Drew Sanders, someone who we are super excited to see. New additions at the linebacker position. Let's talk about the inside linebackers. You got Deontay Lawson and you got Kendrick Blackshire. You got Ian Jackson. All three of those guys have a shot really to play instantly for the Alabama Crimson Tide, because the inside linebacker, I think there's going to be a position battle between Jalen Moody, Shane Lee, and maybe one of these younger guys can get up and showcase that their abilities can start for Alabama's defense. I mean, can you imagine if Deontay Lawson or Kendrick Blackshire, I mean, everybody's seen the photos of Kendrick Blackshire, right? Is that going to translate onto the field instantly? So again, those are some storylines that we're tracking at inside linebacker. At the outside linebacker position, you have Dallas Turner coming in. He's a 5-star, and then you have Keanu Coe. Look, let's talk about Dallas Turner. 5-star coming in. From what I hear, this guy is coming in as a monster. So not only do you have William Anderson and Drew Sanders as second-year players, you also have Dallas Turner coming in. How are you going to keep all these guys off the field? And then have you seen Keanu Coates' senior highlights? Look, I know he's coming in a little light. I think he's like 215 pounds or something like that. But if he can bulk up, and I know they will, you got to think that Alabama is going to get him to 240 pounds or whatever. The transformation of Keanu Coates is going to be something to really keep tabs on. And when is he going to put this weight on? I don't know. But when he does, because he already has the frame and the body type to hold it, you're talking about a guy who's going to be very powerful and dynamic coming off the edge. Hey, so as usual, I want to hear from you inside the comment box. What do you think about the linebacker group overall? Do you like the inside linebackers? Do you like the outside linebackers? I'm sure you do. Do you think that Henry To'oTo'o will actually end up transferring to Alabama, or do you think that's all just smoke? Which inside linebacker do you think is going to start next to Christian Harris if Henry To'oTo'o doesn't make his way to Alabama? And what are your expectations for second-year players like Drew Sanders, Quindarius Robinson, Chris Broswell? Definitely want to hear from you about some of these younger guys. Let me know what you think about Dallas Turner and Kendrick Blackshire. So much talent for the Alabama Crimson Tide. It is ridiculous at this inside and outside linebacker position. As always, thank you very much for watching. Definitely hit the big red button at the bottom of the screen that says subscribe so you never miss a video when we drop new content right here on BamaInsider.com. Spring football starts Friday. We'll have you covered with Nick Saban's press conference and some footage from Alabama's first practice of the springtime. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com.